Glenn Industries is the vocational training division at the Arc of Schuyler. We employ about 50 people with disabilities in various work sites to teach them and train them in various types of work.
Students from Ithaca College and Cornell University studied the task of placing labels on magazines in order to create an original design that would maximize productivity, reduce error and discomfort, while providing ways to increase worker motivation and engagement. After studying the labeling assembly task at Arc of Schuyler, many primary issues were discovered. The most noticeable issue concerned removing mailing labels from the labeling sheet and incorrect orientation, either upside down or off alignment of labels. Employees are paid piece rate, and our redesign sought to increase worker motivation, thereby allowing their productivity to increase as well. The primary function of the first complete redesign was increasing the speed of the operation. Magazines would be placed on a self-leveling platform, labeled 1, that distributed magazines down a chute, labeled 2. Color-coded templates and labels would then be set atop the magazine, number 3. Labels were then placed, then the template would be removed before magazines were gathered for mailing. This design decreased many upper body postural deviations, but the frequent opening and closing of the door still perpetuated extended reaches and periodic internal and external rotation of the shoulder. Additionally, the label remover required high force and precision to remove labels, so alternate design solutions were suggested. The next stage of design focused on 3 primary functions: reducing forward reaches and external rotation of the shoulder, creating a label remover that required less precision, and finding a way to incorporate a rewarding element that would increase worker motivation. A freestanding label remover was suggested, allowing workers to curl a sheet of labels over the top to release the corner of all labels on the sheet, creating an easy tab with which to quickly peel off labels. Removing the handle from the previous design and attaching an angled piece of wood horizontally to the bottom of the template allows workers to flip open the template and load many magazines at one time without demanding extended reaches or requiring rotation of the upper limbs. The final design allows as many as 5 magazines to be loaded into the template at once, reducing time needed to load each magazine individually and decrease production times. The final product cost is approximately $7.60 per unit. Video was taken of the original labeling job at Arc of Schuyler and broken down into 2 tasks: label removal from the sheet and overall task of assembling the packet, including the placement of the appropriate mailing labels. Task analysis and movement times were assessed from the video. Student volunteers practiced this assembly task and were timed doing the entire task, both in the traditional way and with the new design. The overall goal of the redesign was to improve production times for the complete operation. The design intervention had to be better than 78.2 seconds, which was the average time pre-intervention. Post-redesign, 12 student subjects volunteered to participate in testing production levels. Each student was between 21 and 32 years old, and no one had a cognitive or developmental disability. Students were explained step by step how to perform the operation. They practiced and, when confident, began the test. 12 subjects removed 5 labels in an average time of 18 seconds, or approximately 3.6 seconds per label. In comparison to the original operation, which took an average of 12.8 seconds to remove 1 label, this redesign exhibits a 355% decrease in task time. The overall operation took students an average of 86.5 seconds to label all 5 magazines, or approximately 17.3 seconds per magazine. The original design required 58 seconds for 1 magazine. Therefore, we see a 335% decrease in overall production time. The final prototype was then delivered to Arc of Schuyler for employees to test out. 2 employees with labeling task experience were able to try out the new prototype. They thought it looked cool and interesting, and they liked how it tilted the magazines and labels off the desk towards them. They also liked that you could stack 5 or so magazines at once, label one, move it off to the side, label another, and so forth. One employee noted that while using it, he liked how he didn't have to bend his neck as much as before, and that he didn't have to reach across the table to get as many materials. Both employees liked how the labels could be placed inside the template cutout boxes. On average, over 8 trials, They were able to complete the entire task in 46 seconds, down from 78 seconds. And labeling task took 17 seconds per magazine, which was down from 58 seconds. Since these were batched in 5 or so magazines, they liked that they could get a flow going from one to another, which helped speed things up and made it exciting.
One of the benefits of this design, easily adjust it to fit the person's needs. We can create different templates depending on the type of mailing. This one's created for a magazine type mailing, but if we had a letter type mailing, a similar template could be created with the same concept.
It's easier, and these go inside there, and it flips like this, and make it easier. Just pushing this down so these labels can be up there. Yeah.